Today, I'm going to show you 4 jobs that you can work at home with no experience needed. Clothing optional. In fact, some of the jobs that I will mention in this video, I have actually done myself in the past. So you can rest assured that these are legitimate occupations. So given the current economic situation due to this pandemic, if you're looking for some work, make sure you watch the rest of this video because I'll throw in some bonuses at the end. What's up guys, my name is Nam. So here we talk all about personal finance. So if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. So let's jump right into it. With many states having restrictions on what businesses can reopen, work from home jobs is a viable source of income that can help you make some money in the meantime. The jobs that I will be talking about here, they pay anywhere between $13 to $26 an hour. You're not going to be taking any surveys online or getting paid watching videos. These jobs you get paid hourly and some of them even come with benefits. I'm going to be upfront with you guys. All of these jobs are entry-level jobs, but if you have any experience, you will have a bigger boost to your income. So let's kick off with job number 1, call center rep. This is probably one of the best jobs that you can do from home if you have no prior experience. So some of the major companies that are hiring right now are Overstock.com, Wayfair, and Geico. You can find a lot of these jobs on major search engines like Indeed, Monster, or ZipRecruiter. The job description for call center reps is usually pretty similar amongst companies. Of course, each company has their own mission and requires different tasks, but in general, they are pretty similar. So first off, let's talk about what are the qualifications needed to work as a call center rep. You usually need to have at least a high school diploma or a GED. It is also recommended that you have previous customer service experience in retail or call centers, but these are not necessary. But if you do, it does give you an advantage during the application process since you are familiar with the day-to-day routines. Next, you gotta have great communication skills. The majority of individuals who were laid off or furloughed during this pandemic, they were individuals in the hospitality or food industry. So I know that many of these individuals deal with people all day long, so they have experience with customer service. But the truth of the reality is, most jobs do require a certain level of customer service. Even the loneliest jobs do require some sort of human interaction. In addition, some other job requirements include proficiency around computers. This means being able to use the email, Microsoft Word, Excel, and Outlook. So with that being said, you need to have access to a computer, reliable internet, and a working space where you can communicate with customers. So this is going to be a requirement for all jobs that will be listed in this video. You'll find that 99% of remote jobs will require a computer. Depending on the employer, they may loan you a work laptop, but most will require you to have your own. While researching this job around my local area and areas around the US, most of these companies, they will give you benefits. It may vary if you're a full-time or part-time employee, but some of these benefits include health insurance, such as medical, dental, and vision insurance. And most companies, they do offer paid vacation, sick, and parental leave. In addition to these benefits, you also get access to retirement plans such as a 401k or profit sharing. I also found that some of these companies, they do offer tuition reimbursement and they may offer paid training and licensures. So it really depends on the location and the company that you will be applying for. Some companies will require you to be within the state where the company is located. Some, they don't really care. Let's keep it moving with job number 2. Documentation specialist or transcribing. There are a large number of online websites such as rev.com that provide gigs for transcribing. If you ever use any captions for YouTube videos, a lot of YouTubers, they get them from Rev. In fact, if you were to go on the Rev's website, the average pay per month is around $150. So that is barely considered to be a main source of income. So you can view this more like a contract job and not like a typical 9-to-5. During my research, I came across a company called Nuance. This is a company that uses conversational AI where doctors and team members complete their medical documentation via voice. If you guys ever use voice typing on Google Docs or even on the phone, there is tech that would automatically transcribe your spoken words. I typically use this a lot on YouTube videos whenever I'm writing scripts. There are a lot of factors that affect the outcome, like the speed of talking, different types of accents, and the clarity of speech. So in a nutshell, your role in this type of profession is to ensure that the transcription from the AI is correct. So you will listen to doctors' voiceovers or audio recordings of patients' visits and clinical reports to make sure that they're accurate. So depending on the company that you do the transcription for, there will be different type of requirements. But typically having prior work experience in a professional office setting is preferable. And having great English writing skills such as grammar and spelling is definitely a deal breaker. Since you will be transcribing audio, you will need to have excellent listening skills, which means being able to pick up different type of accents and dialects from people. For this particular company, you don't need to have experience as a medical scribe or transcriptionist, but it is a plus. It is just easier to make out the lingo and how electronic medical health records work. And now it's time for job number 3, contact tracer. So with the rising numbers of coronavirus cases here in the United States, contact tracing is one thing that's very important during a public health emergency. So what contact tracing is, it is a process that identifies people who have been in contact with someone who is infected with the disease. So in this case, it would be COVID-19. So once these contacts are identified, you communicate with these individuals to warn them of potential exposure and connect them with public health information and services like testing. Again, this really depends on where you live. The job will be more relevant in bigger cities and towns. Some of these contact tracing companies will allow you to apply outside of the state where the position is located. After reading multiple job listings, some jobs will require initial training on site first before you can work remotely from home, but just double check with the listing just to make sure. So now let's talk about your job description and your day to day. Once a patient is newly diagnosed with COVID, you will contact any individuals that this person may recently came in contact with. You would collect and keep a record of information of any symptoms. You would also provide these contacts with information about local isolation procedures and where they can go to get testing. Once you have done that, you report all of the contacts and records with your supervisor on a daily basis. So now let's move on to the qualifications of this job. Most of the positions that I have researched, they only require a high school diploma or something equivalent like a GED. Although it is a plus if you have education or some experience in healthcare. So depending on where you do the contact tracing, being bilingual does definitely help. One thing to keep in mind that contact tracing can be a temporary job due to the fact that the demand for this position will most likely be less when the presence of the coronavirus will become less. But again, this is America. Who really knows how long it will be here? And now it's time for job number 4, ESL teaching. ESL stands for English as a Second Language. You may first think that you would have to have a teaching certificate or some expensive educational degree to do ESL teaching, but there are plenty of jobs out there that don't require teaching credentials. Here are some of the common websites that people use to teach English on: Cambly, Palefish, and VIP Kid. For the first two that I mentioned, Cambly and Palefish, both of these websites, they do not require you to have a degree or experience, while VIP Kid, they do require you to have at least an undergraduate degree. There are plenty of these companies that are just looking for native speakers that can have the ability to engage students over video chat. But certainly if you are a teacher or you have an undergraduate degree, it does certainly help to get more teaching gigs, full-time positions, or higher pay. The companies that I mentioned earlier were companies where you'll be teaching English to students in China. Even though you will be teaching students overseas, you do not need to know their native language to teach them English. And the majority of your students will be in the younger range, anywhere between 5 and 12 years old. Different companies do have different protocols, so you may be teaching one-on-one or maybe a classroom of 2 to 4 students. From what I saw, the majority of ESL teaching jobs are pretty flexible. But you also have to keep in mind that the majority of the students will be in China and you would have to plan your schedule around their time zone. For example, 4 o'clock in California is 7 a.m. the next day in Beijing, China. So in most cases, you will be working late afternoon or nighttime just to make up that time difference. While researching a lot of these companies, they do handle your classes and assign you your students. They also may provide you with free training and teacher support. And pretty much all of them, they do provide you a curriculum for each class, so there's no lesson planning that is required. But again, just be mindful of the qualifications. So from what I found, most ESL teaching jobs are contract-based, so there are not that many companies that do offer benefits. So with that being said, now let's move on to our bonus. Here are some jobs that are hiring in person. The reason why I want to throw this in here is that it's hard to find quality jobs that require no experience that are remotely based. The first one being is convenience stores like 7-Eleven. I'm pretty sure that most people know what 7-Eleven is, but if you don't, it is a local convenience store chain and sometimes a gas station. As for what you will be doing, you'll be stocking shelves, cleaning the store, and dealing with customers. Now this brings us to our second job, Amazon. Ever since the pandemic, Amazon is one of those companies that are making more money than ever. It makes sense. It's because more and more customers are staying at home and ordering online. Some of the positions that are open are working at fulfillment warehouses or delivering packages. But if you want more of a flexible position, you can always work for Amazon Flex. Imagine Uber, but for delivering packages. On the Amazon website, they say that most drivers can earn anywhere between $18 to $25 an hour. Now let's keep it moving with job number 3, pharmacies. There are plenty of retail pharmacies that are offering positions such as CVS, Walgreens, and Rite Aid. Again, this really depends on where you live in the US and if there are any stores nearby. A lot of these companies are on a large hiring surge due to the fact that the demand for prescription delivery has increased. You don't have to be a pharmacy tech or a pharmacist to get hired. There are many retail sales jobs that are open. And now it's time for job number 4, pizza delivery. During this pandemic, the demand for pizza has not slowed at all. If anything, it increased. So there are different roles that you can actually do. There are delivery drivers, pizza makers, and also truck drivers. This can be a side hustle or a full-time position for the time being. Now this is going to lead us to our 5th job, food delivery. Almost similar to delivering pizza, but as an independent contractor. During this pandemic, the demand for food delivery from restaurants or grocery stores has been booming. Since there are a lot of restaurants around the US that are still closed due to government orders, Apps such as Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats, they have been getting a lot of work. Just as a reminder, food delivery does not only mean restaurant orders, but also groceries. Instacart is another app that hired plenty of full-time contractors to keep up with the demand. In addition, Instacart said that they would provide up to 14 days of extended pay for any full-service or in-store shoppers who are diagnosed with COVID-19 or forced to quarantine or self-isolate. Now, I want to turn it over to you. Which jobs from today's video are you going to try first? Are you going to try out being a contract tracer or rather have an in-person job at a pharmacy? Let me know by leaving a comment below right now. If you guys want to hang out with me some more, check out my videos over here.